What up, folks? We're already on our 4th patch of the year. Let's get right into it. Smolder has ranked 1st in ban rate and 2nd in pick rate among ADCs. Riot's gonna weaken him in his early game phase, but strengthen his late game. It has made adjustments to his number of projectiles in his Q and damage and cooldown on his W. Kai'Sa is getting a range buff to her ults. Jace received a 2 base AD increase and buffs to his hammer form W's damage and mana recovery. Lulu gets buffs to all of her abilities except her E, additional damage for her Q, a cooldown buff to her W, and additional max health for her ults. Soraka is also getting some pretty big buffs. She's receiving a movement speed increase on her passive, buff on her Q's healing, and her ult's cooldown. Caution, beware of bears. Volibear gets a huge movement speed increase on his Q and a buff on his ult's cooldown. We've got a lot of support champ updates on this patch note. Thresh is getting buffs to his base armor, E's damage, and ult's cooldown. Ahri gets a buff to her growth health and AP ratio on her Q, and Fiddlesticks gets a range buff on his W. Next, let's take a look at champion nerfs. Fiora's W attack speed decrease, Varus' Q damage, Kallista's E damage, and Zyra's passive. Maokai's base armor, Q damage, and ult's bind duration have been reduced. This might just finally take the OP mark away from him. I'm positive y'all are with me on this. I'm quite getting sick of seeing him on the patch note. K'Sante is getting an adjustment again. While there are buffs to his base health, mana, and W's damage, the rest of the changes are, I'd say, quite painful. The removal of the slowdown on his all-out Q, nerfs to his W's cooldown and charge time, as well as nerfs to both his base E and all-out E's dash speed. Bard's getting adjusted too, but it really does seem more like a buff, especially with the AP ratio increases to his passive and Q damage. Next, Voidgrub's shield cannot be broken with some shield-removing skills, such as Rel's Q, Renekton's Empower W, and Blitz's ults. There are no items that got a straight-up stat nerf in this patch, but there are some changes that are noteworthy. The items that received the biggest buffs today are Terminus and Ravenous Hydra. In addition, Archangel, Rudin, and Malignance are getting their ability haste increased from 20 to 25. We also have an unconfirmed intel. Rumors on Reddit suggest that Ruinan's Hurricane may now be available for melee champs. Next, World Atlas, Runic Compass got adjustments on their quest recharge timers, and as you can see, there are adjustments to a number of other support items as well. Last but not least, there is a rework on Rek'Sai. Her Q now grants an additional 45% attack speed for the next 3 seconds or 3 attack. Her W will now be an AoE airborne instead of a single target, and its ratio and damage will also deal magic damage. Most notably, Max Rage now deals damage proportional to the enemy's max health instead of a doubled fixed damage. Her speed and vision have been buffed. Burrowed E's cooldown and movement speed have been increased. The heal in her passive will be buffed to a whopping 12 to 20% of max health. Okay, that's it for this patch. We've got a lot going on even for an early season. Thank you for sticking around, and I'll see you in the next patch note.